welcome to Praise to the King of Kings, heralding the glory of God and the lordship of Jesus Christ over all of life and all the world. The Wrong Kind of Caring, September 27th, 2019. Christians need to care a whole lot less about what the world thinks of them. Christians often let themselves feel shame for the wrong things. We are afraid of people branding us as weirdos or as religious extremists. And the fact is, if Christians are bullied by the culture in this way, such that they bow to the socially applied peer pressure, we are in desperate need of a tall glass of perspective. There are certain situations where we should really not care at all about what other people think of us. Now, to give an extreme example, imagine visiting a tribe that practiced cannibalism. Suppose further that it was considered a very important part of their culture, even to the point of being considered a moral good. Now, being a non-cannibal, you quickly developed a reputation as a weirdo in this tribe. And not only a weirdo, but a bad person. Some of the people even came up with insulting names for you because you are against eating people. Now, in such a situation, aside from possibly fearing for your life, their insults really should not matter much to you. Why? Because they're cannibals. You should not feel ashamed for opposing the consumption of other human beings. If you began to be ashamed for opposing their views, you have begun to care in the wrong way. Now you can probably see where I'm going with this. Isaiah 5 verse 20 says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." Our culture right now is one that slaughters unborn children and then will lecture you about the type of light bulb that you use. Such a culture is morally bankrupt. When proponents of abortion or homosexuality begin spewing their words of condemnation at you, renouncing you as an immoral person because you oppose the slaughter of the unborn and you stand for biblical morality, their insults should carry no weight in your mind. Why? Well, because abortion is murder. Because homosexuality is an abomination. Because it is God who defines morality, and if we are holding to his standards and are being blasted for it, their insults should not hurt, because they are not true. If an atrocity like abortion is considered by someone to be a moral good, they are calling evil good and good evil. Their lashing out at you is simply the outworking of their twisted worldview. They hate the light and will boldly declare somebody standing for good to be a horrible person. We must not fear the labels they throw at us. Far too often, Christians cower in the fear that they will be branded as bigots or haters if they engage with any of these issues. These labels function to silence us because we've been called to love people and we rightly want to be seen as loving people. But what we need to recognize is that their standards of what is loving and unloving is the outworking of their view of what is good and evil. Once you remember that they consider the promotion of sin to be a moral good, you will realize that their views of what a loving or an unloving person is wrong. So because Jesus is Lord, it is not unloving to seek to engage people with the gospel. Because the gospel is true, you are not a hateful person simply because you sought to engage people with the message. In fact, because the gospel is true, the unloving thing would be to let their insults keep you quiet. The gospel is the power of God unto salvation, according to Romans 1:16 and 17. And it is therefore the only message of true hope, peace, and love for a lost and dying world. So we should be concerned about being labeled unloving people, but we should be concerned that God would label us as unloving people, because we would not put forth the only message of hope for a lost and dying world. Soli Deo Gloria.